Abdifatah Sheikhey, 19, was blasted in the chest and stomach as he sat in the passenger seat of a stationary black Mercedes in Ilford, East London, on March 21. A judge was told she had no heart, man, as she jailed 3 young men for at least 30 years each for the execution-style shooting of a teenager with a semi-automatic pistol. Abdifatah Sheikhey, 19, was blasted in the chest and stomach as he sat in the passenger seat of a stationary black Mercedes in Ilford, East London, on March 21. In the planned attack, the killers left their BMW running as they fired 7 shots in quick succession directly at the teenager in 13 seconds, 4 of them hitting him. Even though the prosecution could not say which of them had fired the gun, the jury was told they were all in it together. Following a trial, former West Ham United youth team player Sammy Omar, 21, Jordi Kaibizi, 21, and Suleiman Mohammed, 20, all from Ilford, were found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in jail. They had all denied murder. Related articles previous. 1 next. Prisoner is charged with murder after baby killer who. Mother of 9, 33, whose 4-month-old son's body was. Share this article. Share script dm.later, bundle, function, if, dm.rotator, new dm.rotator, p18, pages eyes, 1, page count, 1.0, active class, active, rotate, false, $, number p18.share, .on, click, function, dms.facebook.post related. There were tears in the public gallery and cries of "It's not fair" and "You have no heart, man" from supporters, as Judge Anujadhir QC set a minimum term of 30 years. She said the manner of the shooting meant the victim had no chance of survival. Mr. Sheikhey was murdered by the 3 drug dealers in retaliation for an incident in a chicken shop the previous day when he swung a large knife at Omar, the Old Bailey herd. Judge Dhir said the starting point for murders with a gun was at least 30 years in prison, and the crime was made worse because it was premeditated, they intended to kill, and it was drugs related. However, she told the defendants she had decided not to increase their sentences because of their youth and the circumstances of the case. She said, "It doesn't matter which one of you it was, I am satisfied from the evidence that you are all jointly responsible for this murder. This was a planned execution which was drug-related and motivated in whole or in part by revenge for the events the night before." Promising footballers Sammy Omar, left, and Suleiman Mohammed, right, were jailed for a minimum of 30 years each. Mr. Sheikhey had wanted to be a mechanic and work on cars, according to his brother Ahmed. He said in a statement, he was only 19 years old when he was shot. It was a month before his 20th birthday, far too young to leave this world. What makes his death even worse is that he knew the people who shot him, people who were his friends. How could they do this? These sorts of murders have to stop. The people responsible should not be allowed to do this to anyone else. Jordi Kaibizi, 21, pictured, was also jailed for a minimum of 30 years for the execution-style shooting of a teenager with a semi-automatic pistol. The murder was committed against a background of lucrative drug dealing, with 2 of the defendants being able to hire flats to store their stash, and Kaibizi renting a BMW at a hugely inflated cost. The day before the shooting, Mr. Sheikhey had been involved in a knife fight with Omar at Chester's Chicken Shop in Ilford Lane. Mr. Sheikhey took Omar by surprise, as he was waving a weapon much larger than the small blade the defendant habitually carried around with him, the court heard. On the evening of March 21, Mr. Sheikhey had been in a black Mercedes car with 2 friends as a BMW followed behind containing the gunman, jurors were told. Prosecutor Anthony Orchard QC said, "A figure, with his face covered, left the vehicle and shouted to the front passenger side window of the Mercedes. The man was in possession of a firearm which was held at waist height. Several shots were heard. Mr. Sheikhey, from Ilford, was pronounced dead soon after 11 p.m. that night. The .32 semi-automatic pistol which was used in the shooting was never recovered." DCI Chris Jones said, "This senseless murder, believed to have been committed in retaliation for a clash between the victim and one of the suspects, has devastated Abdifatah's family. These 3 suspects went out with the sole intention of tracking down Abdifatah and causing him serious harm. With a firearm in their possession, this tragic outcome was inevitable. They now face a significant period in jail, and I hope the verdict will allow Abdifatah's family to come to terms with his death.